Welcome aboard, welcome aboard. Okay, so we are in chapter 15, verse 37 in Bamidbar, in Numbers. We say this paragraph several times a day. It's the Parsha of Tzitzit, the Talit. Hashem said to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them that they shall make themselves tzitzit on the corner of their garments throughout their generations. And they shall place upon the tzitzit of each corner a thread of turquoise wool. It shall constitute tzitzit for you, and you shall see it, and you shall remember all the commandments of Hashem, and perform them, and you shall not spy after your heart and after your eyes, after which you stray, so that you may remember and perform all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I am Hashem your God, who has taken you out of the land of Egypt to be a God unto you. I am Hashem your God." How is it, by just looking at a thread, or threads, that you will remember all the mitzvahs of God? Is that an easy undertaking? How does it work? What is the mechanism? I bet you guys haven't slept for the last few years thinking about this question. I'll read it in Hebrew. V'yomer Adonai el Moshe Lemor, Daber el bnei Yisrael, v'yamarta leihem v'su lehem tzitzit. They should make themselves tzitzit. Al kanti ligdehem l'dorotam, v'nasnu al tzitzit, ha'kanaf petil tcheles, a corner of a string of blue. And it will be for you tzitzit, or itemotam. And when you look at them, and you should look at them, uzkartem et kol mitzvahs Hashem. You shall look at them and remember all the mitzvahs of God. Unbelievable. Okay, so we have to answer this question, and that's what he's going to address. So in the Hebrew, if you're interested, it's in the booklet, the Hebrew booklet. It's on page Teish Tuf Reish Yud Bet. You want me to look? Oh, you found it. Okay. It says, sure. Yeah. V'asu lehem tzitzit, and they shall make for them these, and they should be for them tzitzis. They should make for them the tzitzis. Kol tochen haparsha tzarich biur. The entire parsha requires clarification. Ki eich. He asked the most important question. It's okay. The most important question. Ki eich yizkor et kol mitzvahs Hashem. How is it possible? How does it work? What's the mechanism? How is one supposed to remember all the mitzvahs of God? Just by looking at this blue thread. How does it work? What's the mechanism? Here you go.
Continue.
I know, I have a...
Choice.
What I do.
It's fine.
Here.
Sorry.
Nir lefarish zeh ha'inyan b'shnei drachim. He is going to help us understand. He's going to explain it in two ways. Okay? So the second way is not going to be for a while. So we'll deal with the first. Okay. Now, you have to know that there's a lot more verses I could have put on the source sheet, which I failed to do due to time restraints, but I will fill you in as we go along. So, Haderach Harishon He, the first explanation. Al derech she'amur b'sifri, it's brought down in the Sifri, umidio hayilkit b'parsha ta'azinu, and believe it or not, it's brought down in the Parsha, in the Yilkit Shimoni, Parsha Ta'azinu, and he only quotes part of it. I actually have the whole thing here, but I'm only going to stick to what he quotes. It says, God said to Moses, thank you, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu LaMoshe. God said to Moses, Emor lehem liYisrael. This is what you should say to the Jewish people. Histaklu b'shamayim. They should look at the heavens. Shebara'ati l'shameshchem. I created it for their use. We should look at the heavens and know that God created this for our use. While looking at them, ask yourself, Shema Shinu Midatam, have they changed? How old is the universe? We don't know. The universe maybe millions of years old, maybe 6,000 years old, whatever. You don't mind closing the door? However old it is, it's irrelevant. Have they really changed? Right? At least in our lifetime, the same sun is having orbits go around it. It itself has cycles. The Earth goes around the sun, the moon goes around the Earth, all the planets go around the Earth, the sun. The sun is somehow traveling within the Milky Way. The Milky Way is, I don't know, somewhere in space. I mean, anyway, so the question is, this is the measures. Shema shinui midatam, have they changed? O Shema Ola Galgal Chama Min Hamarav, has the sun ever set in the how do you say this? Has the sun ever come up from the west? It always comes up from the east. You think tomorrow morning the sun is going to change its pattern? Is there any reason to think like that? And not only this is the medrash. Elish Sameach Lasot. This is only the first part. It actually is happy. It's not just happy, we're going to talk about the difference between fear versus love. How do we serve Hashem? Out of fear or out of love? Or both? And which one is greater? But in the meantime, we're talking only about this medrash and the heavens. Look at the heavens that God created for our use, and they don't seem to have changed. And we don't see the sun rising in the west, rises in the east, and it's actually happy to do so. It is sameach, it's happy. It goes on about the sea, regarding the sea. In Jeremiah, if you look in Jeremiah 5:22, which I think is the number 16, that's where we're starting. We're starting on 16. Will you not fear me? Ha'oti lo tira'u. Will you not fear me, Hashem? Says God. Ina panai lo tachilu. Right? Do you not quake from before me? Asher samti chol gvul layam. This is God speaking. For I have made sand as a boundary for the sea. We all go to the beach, and we're not afraid of a tsunami. A tsunami is a very unusual thing. So on a daily basis, we don't see tsunamis. We see the sea coming up, and it's actually, right, the waves are afraid to cross the boundary, and they turn under and come back. It's like a fear in the sea. God created a fear within the sea that the water wants to cross, but cannot. Read the verse. For I made sand a boundary for the sea, an everlasting ordinance, right? A chok olam, for which it cannot pass. V'lo ya'avri'inuhu, and then it says, its waves toss themselves, yet they cannot prevail. The waves want to go over, and they can't. Its waves roar, but they do not pass. So we see that when we talk about the heavens, we're talking about love and happiness. And when we think of the sea, we're thinking about fear. Okay, now, why is this being brought? He says, from here you have proof, Shehein eno mishanim midato miyira, that the sea does not change its character out of fear. Behold, Shaharei mitzta'er la'asot, it's actually pained by doing so, but it's not permitted to cross over. The Shemayim eno mishanim midato mi'ava, but the heavens are not changing out of love. The sea is not changing out of fear. Now, why is this being brought in? Because of the next paragraph, the famous statement. If you haven't heard it, put on your seatbelts. Hine be'inyan techeles. Techeles is the blue thread. The truth is, he doesn't talk about it here, as far as I remember, but the word techeles is based on the word tachlit, or we say tachlis. The goal. The goal. It's the goal. It's the target. It's the purpose. So let's find out what that means. Says Chazal Menachos, in the Gemara Menachos, that Techeles, that color, we're not going to call it blue, we're going to call it Techeles, but it's a bluish green. This Techeles is similar to the sea. It's similar in color. Perhaps that word, it doesn't say color, but perhaps that's what it's talking about. It's a color that's similar to the sea. The Yam is Doma l'Rakia, and the color of the sea is similar to the color of the sky. And the Rakia is Doma l'Kisei Kavod, and the sky is similar in color to the color of the throne of glory. And maybe we're not talking about colors, but in the meantime, let's use our imagination and think that it is. He says, B'vadai Perushu, certainly the explanation is, that these colors are Doma l'Doma, they are similar to each other, but Ki ein ha'Techeles Doma l'Rakia. But the Techeles that was similar to the sea, that was similar to the sky, you had to skip. You can't say that the blue or blue-green of the Techeles is exactly the color of the sky, but rather each one of them on this way till we reach the heavenly throne are similar enough in stages. Kol echad nota b'tzivo el hadomalo, the kol echad omek mechavero. Each one is a little bit darker than the next, okay, or the previous one. There's like a, not a domino effect, but successions. You think a pyramid effect? Okay, I'm not sure that's the terminology. But you're talking about it, you go to get your house painted, they give you this color chart. The painter hands you, maybe he sends it to you by email, but you can have in front of you all these colors, and you can choose the grade of depth of darkness. But it's the same basic color. So even though Techeles is that blue-green thread, and then it's similar to the sea, which is a blue-green, but it's a little bit darker. And then, or maybe lighter. And then you have the next color, which is the sky, which is similar enough, but off either darker or lighter. And then the heavenly throne, which is, so, but you couldn't jump from one to the next. You had to go in a gradation or gradient order of some sort, if that's the word. So he says, from this statement, that we actually sealed the deal. There's proof here. This is what we're talking about. Meaning, what exactly is this concept, this idea of looking, looking at a string of techelet, that you will remember through it all the mitzvahs of God. And will not even change one. That seems to be from the Medrash. Nothing changes. Not even a hairbreadth. Nothing changes. What's the deal here? Since we said that that string on the tzitzis is compared or similar somehow to the sea, and that through looking at this string, Yizkor El Hayam, it'll remind you to look at the sea, or remind you of the sea. Hadomalo Bitzivo, that is similar enough in color. And then it will be as if it's constantly in your front of your eyes, the sea. Right? I'll just read that again so we understand. It will be as if the sea was constantly, or will be constantly in your, not just line of sight, but against your eyes, in your imagination. Then, Yiboneh the Maaseh Hayam. Then you will think about the character and the behavior of the sea. Don't forget, you bring a child. I mean, I remember bringing my children to the sea for the first time. I mean, either they absolutely love it or they hate it. I mean, it's so scary with the rumbling of the waves, and then you almost lose your balance with coming in and out all of a sudden. Children, I've seen, some are like, they're just absolutely fascinated, or they're scared to death. That when you think about the way the sea acts, no matter which ocean you go to, it's all the same. They all are the same. The waves are all pulling back. And then you, from thinking about this, you will adopt this level of fear, of awe, of fear. And so too, you can learn this as an a priori argument, understand the severity of it, and this is why the Medrash mentions it. That if you look at the sea, histaklu b'yam, what's the language? We're here to learn Hebrew as well. Histakel means to look, but we're talking about the word tzitzit. Where do you get the word tzitzit from? It's a very strange word. So if you look in Song of Songs, and I'll tell you where, it's number 2, verse 9, and that's number 17 on page 5 in the handouts. It says, peering. It's peering through the lattices. Meitzitz min hachrachim. Okay, so the peering, it's a tzitz is peering, using your eyes in a piercing way. The Hainush yet meitzitz umistachaviyom. You should use your vision. You should use your ability to see how the sea acts. She'ena mishana midato. It doesn't change. Kachu lo yishana b'kal v'chomer. So too you should not change, as a priori argument. V'im yavur afilu al achas mikol mitzvos. That if God forbid you personally transgress on even one mitzvah, then you are removing yourself, you're leaving from the measure that Hashem allotted you. Until here you're allowed to go, until here you're not allowed to add. This is permissible, this is forbidden. That's what the Torah is. The Torah is a manual from God of how to live one's life, and you stick to it. Just like the Yam, and you do it out of fear. We're going to get to love in a second. Hang in there. Now, if you're only going to look at the sea, the only character you're going to understand is to serve God out of fear. What did we say over there by the sea? That it was restraining itself, to hold itself back. As we saw in the verse in Jeremiah 5:22. I'll just read it again. Will you not fear me, says the Lord, or do you not quake from before me? For I made sand a boundary for the sea, an everlasting ordinance, which it cannot pass, and its waves toss themselves, yet they cannot prevail, and its waves roar, but they do not pass it. You stay within the boundaries. Shema mina, what do we hear from that? Min hayam, that from the sea you only learn about fear. And guess what? Fear is not such a little thing. It's a great honor to be able to serve God out of fear. Milta zutari legabi Moshe legabi kol dichvate. It's certainly a great thing by Moses and anybody who's like Moses. We want to be like Moses? Yeah. But this is not the end of the way you can complete yourself and perfect yourself. We all want to be perfect. We want to complete ourselves, right? We want to be fulfilled Jews. So what do? We're going to serve Hashem from love. The Oved is Hashem b'simcha, like the stars of the heavens. Remember, we spoke about in the beginning, and I failed to mention. If you look in chapter 19 of Psalms, it's very important. Everyone has their own Tanakh, and those who don't, I'm reading it. Psalms 19, verses 5 and 6. I think that just to read 5 and 6 is not really good enough, so I'll start a little bit earlier. The heavens declare the glory, right? It's not in that booklet, I'm sorry. I'll just hear me out. This is chapter 19. I'm going to read before 5 and 6. The heavens, we're talking about the heavens, declare the glory of God, and the firmament tells of his handiwork. Day follow day utters speech, and night following night declares knowledge. Number 4, there is no speech, and there are no words, their sound is not heard. 5, remember, 5 and 6 are the important verses here. But their precision, we're talking about the heavens, but their precision goes forth throughout the earth, and their words reach the end of the inhabited world. In their midst, he has set up a tent for the sun, which is like a groom. When I say sun, it's S-U-N. Okay? Which is like a groom emerging from his bridal chamber. How is a groom, what emotion is he going through when he exits the bridal chamber? It rejoices, simcha, like a powerful warrior to run the course. So in Hebrew, v'hu kachatan, he's like a chassan, like a bridegroom. Yotzei nechupato, yosis kegibor lerutz orach. He's full of sasan, joy. Okay, so that's the ahava. That's the love. That's how we have to also relate to God. So he says like this. I'm going to go back to that point. If all you have is fear, that's no way to complete yourself. Because but someone who serves Hashem with love, and he serves God with joy, gadol min hayira elokim. This is even greater than the fear of God. Remember, we were talking about levels. The techelis reminds you of the sea. We talked about the sea, that's fear. And what's the next level? To remind you, the sea reminds you of the heavens, the sky, the Rikiah. Who nenem negias kapab b'Torah shamru. Now this is a little bit, it's like a little bit of a side point, but we're talking about philosophically and psychologically speaking. Someone who works hard at something and produces something gets a lot of enjoyment out of it, more than someone who just stops from, let's say, damaging something or is sitting and not doing anything. You enjoy what you create much more than if someone else created it for you. So he says here, Hanena megias kapab b'Torah shamru, ki oisa b'simcha ne'ava, someone who, and I have the Gemara here, I'm sorry I didn't copy it for you, but basically it says, greater is one who serves Hashem out of love than one who serves Hashem out of fear. And it's based on this idea, it's brought down Rabbi Chia bar Abba Mishmei De'ula, in the name of Ula, that if someone who works hard, Nene Migiato, Migio, he benefits from his own actions, Yocher Miyir Shemayim, even more than someone who just fears God, where when it's just someone who fears God, if you look in Psalms 112, that's Psalms, Psalms, we'll say Tehillim. Kuf Yud Bet, 112:1. Ashri Ya'ish Yiras Hashem. Praiseworthy. The word praiseworthy is used. Praiseworthy is the man who fears God. But when it comes to someone who worked hard and it benefits from his own actions, listen to what it says. Look in 128, Psalms 128 verse 2. It actually says, Yegiach kapecha ki ta'ochel. When you eat the labor of your hands, that's the words. You actually eat from the labor of your hands. Ashrecha, the same word was used for Yirat Shamayim, someone who fears God. He's Ashrecha, but it doesn't end there. Yes, you're praiseworthy, v'tovlach, and it's also good for you. That additional statement, it's good for you. It doesn't apply. It's not used by the one who fears God. So what do we understand? The word Ashrecha is talking about this world. If you fear God, you may get plenty of reward in this world. But when you love God, Tovlach le'olam haba, it's going to be good for you in the world to come. Okay? So let's go back to the text. You understand that when you work, action of love takes action. Buying flowers, putting your toothbrush away, if you're married, your wife doesn't like anything that's in a positive action, right? Love is not stagnant, and you don't love by doing nothing. Okay? Fear can be stopping and not doing something, even walking backwards. Okay?
Fear is a state of sort of stress and anxiety, isn't it? I mean, it's not that healthy way to live, is it?
So it depends how you're translating fear. If I said to you the word awe, you would like that. You have to have an awe for Hashem, and which we mistranslate the word yira as fear in the Christian sense or in a foreign to Judaism sense, but we mean the word awe. So awe, you're right. A fear can be unhealthy. So the fear we're talking about is a healthy type of fear. Awe. That's healthy. You have to have awe of your parents. You have to have awe of your professor, right? Awe of your doctor to do what he says to do. Okay. So he says at the end, right? The one who does and performs out of love, joy out of love, he actually benefits from his own handiwork. But someone who is full of fear, and I don't mean in the negative sense, there's no benefit from his action. He's not going to benefit from anything he did. That's why it says the yam, the sea, is similar to the sky. To constantly remembering how the sea behaves, then it'll be as if the sea is in front of your eyes always, consistently. And then after that, the result will be that you'll be looking at the sky. You'll have the sky in front of you always. Because remember, the sea is similar in color or behavior to the sky. And then from it you'll have fear. Then you'll actually do as well. You come to do action. Just like the sky doesn't change in its behavior, it actually is full of joy. The planets and whatever is doing their orbits, they're like clockwork, right? It's like beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been to a planetarium, but you can just look at, some of these people live where there's no city lights. But if you can go out where there's no city lights and just lie on a blanket for, 20 minutes or an hour. I mean, so you can see what's going on out there. This will bring you to the level of, and this is the adage, we have a techelos, a string of blue, and the Torah itself says that you have to look on it in order to remember, and you will remember all the mitzvahs of God. We're not even halfway through. We're just laying the groundwork, okay? But you see where it's going. If the person who serves God asks this question, what exactly is my advantage by serving God out of love and out of fear? This is what you should tell him. That the sky, it's so beautiful here in Yerushalayim. I'm sure the same is true in most places of the world. It's the same sky. Not the same sky? Okay.
We got the bluer sky.
What?
We got the bluer sky.
It's bluer here? That the sky is similar to the Kisei Kavod, to the throne of glory. That through this, you remember that within the love, what's going to happen? That love is going to bring you to an intimate relationship with the divine presence. Makom chotzpah shel haneshama. You know where the divine presence? That's the place that our holy souls were, I'm going to use the word carved from, but it's quarried from. Quarried is a better word because that's chutzpah. Stoned from? No,
stone uses quarries. No, stone uses quarries.
Stone, yeah, but I mean quarried. In other words, chiseled from. There's some action here. It's chutzpah, right? It's a verb. It was chiseled from. It was quarried from. Right?
You were formed from this.
Formed from the divine Shekinah. We have God. We're made in the image of God. We're holy beings. And we're pure. We're so pure. We just have to get in touch with our pure ourselves, right?
You want to be.
Kikol yirei mitrachik. Anybody who's afraid or threatened, distance themselves from that which he is afraid of. And that's true about someone who is afraid or fearful or even with awe. What about someone who has love? The ohev mishtadel tamid ledavka Benehav love. The one who's in love is constantly striving to cling, to come closer, to be intimate with the entity that he loves. Al Kain, guys, you all with me? Okay. Therefore, ki yavo al skara, when the time for the reward comes, yamatzis yava tachlit ha'atzlacha. You find out, you know what happens? Is that it's the love that actually brings the end result. Remember the word techeles? Tachlit and techeles are the same word. That blue string brings you to your goal and success of that intimate relationship. Ki al yada, that through that blue thread, I'm calling it blue, but it's a techelet, you end up clinging and having that ultimate relationship with the throne of glory. That through glancing and peering and looking at the sky, you'll remember the throne of glory through this comparative of colors. Okay, now, if you notice on the source sheet, when you go to that Hebrew sheet like this page, okay, I circled, no, I didn't really circle 2 words, but you'll see it says Vasu lehem tzitzis, and it says Vahoy lechem tzitzis, which they shall make themselves tzitzis, and it shall constitute for you tzitzis. Okay, the difference between lehem and lechem. Now, I'm not a grammarian. I don't know that much about grammar. But there's a difference between lehem and lechem. What's lehem? To them, and lechem is to you. Okay? So there's first, second, third persons. Right? To you could be you singular, to you could be you plural. To them is third person, called third person. We talk about third person, it's called hidden. Present, if you're in front of me, I could say to you singular or plural, but it's you. I'm directly talking to you. It's called present. I'm talking about present tense, but present. Second person. Third person is called nistar, hidden. So he says like this, that we're talking about reward. There's reward that's going to be revealed, and there's going to be reward that's going to be hidden. What do you think the reward that is revealed? That's the reward of this world. The reward that's going to be hidden is going to be the reward waiting for you in the world to come, for all eternity. So he says like this, there's a hint that the reward that is received, that is revealed in this world, comes on account of fear. And the reward that's the nister, the one that's hidden, comes on account of love. Like it says, like we spoke about earlier, that if you benefit from your own actions, it says ashrecha. Ashrecha, we said that means ba'olam hazeh, you're praiseworthy in this world. But it says v'tovlach. It also, this is going back to Psalms, right? It's the tovlach, which means olam haba, for the world to come. So too, we see in our Parsha, right? I just read it to you. It says, "Asu lehem tzitzit." Lehem. Lehem is lashon nistar, and only afterwards it says, "V'hay lechem l'tzitzit." It shall be for you. That's a lashon nokach v'nigla. It's present tense and it's revealed. And he claims this is a fantastic explanation because remember his name is the Kliyakar. So he says this Perish Yakar, this is a very precious explanation. And he goes on to explain one more thing. Zetam shmona chutim chamish ksharim. Do you know that tzitzis has 8 strings and 5 knots? What's 8 and 5? 13. What's the gematria of love? Ahava. Love is 13. I was just seeing who's awake. So it also means echad, right? God is one. Echad. Ahava is 13.
So it has one little step to it.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's speak
13,
louder.
13 was of Ava. And 13 of my Ava to a Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is going to love me, can get 26, which is Avaya.
26, which is Yiboneh, which is the God, name of God, the Gematria. Okay, that's just one explanation. Remember, what's the question? How does looking at this thread bring you to a remembrance of all of God's commandments?
Or your association.
Huh?
All that you have taught your mind to associate with it.
Okay. And what should you associate your mind with? How does it work? So listen to this. It's one thread. One thread. He says, Shekol mitzvot nimshlu lebeged. I want to translate the word mitzvah. Okay? Mitzvah does not mean commandment. Mitzvah, the root tzav, means a connecting point. It's an opportunity to connect to God. We have 613 opportunities. When we do mitzvahs, okay, for example, there are 613, there's 248 positive, there's positive meaning actions, do's, and there's 248 do's, 365 negatives, meaning refrain from, don'ts. Chazal tell us that there are parts of our body. Every one of these are related to a part of our body. Okay? What we are doing is instilling the life force. When we do a mitzvah, we are instilling a holy life force into our body, whether it's our bones, our sinews, our muscles, our organs. This life force will be activated at the time of the resurrection of the dead. What we do in this world will have eternal consequences. Okay, so he says that the mitzvahs are compared to a beged. A beged is a piece of clothing, a garment. Now, it says in Koheles is Ecclesiastes, so if you go to your source sheet, I believe it is 9:8. Ecclesiastes 9:8, 19. At all times, let your garments be white. Let oil not be wanting on your head. So when we talk about mitzvahs are like beged, and your beged should be white. But there is a difference between these types of begeds. When you talk a beged for you, how many threads do you have in your garment? You need a lot of threads to weave a garment. It's the only way you're going to cover your body. You can cover your body with one thread, you'd be embarrassed. Right? So he says like this. Kistam beged arud dafta min chutim harbe. That a regular beged, for a person to wear, has to be woven with many threads. Ki chut echad ein bo kedei lehikasot. One thread is not enough to cover your body. But 1 second now. Aval halabush malbush haneshama eno kain. This is like so beautiful. When it comes to clothing the soul, one thread is enough. You cannot compare what you need to cover a body with whatever it will take to cover what. Remember, we're calling mitzvahs. Okay, I'm going to tell you what he's going to tell us. He's going to tell us the most unbelievable thing you would never know about Judaism. This is going to blow you out of the water. That if you just do one mitzvah, you got it made. Now, it could mean one mitzvah like done properly and right. I mean, all the other ones you attempted and you somehow didn't do it perfectly. But listen to what he says. We talked about that one thread is enough to cover the soul. One thread is enough to cover the soul, as it's mentioned in Sanhedrin. Now listen to this verse. Liv li chok. If you go to, this would be on the last page, Isaiah 5:14. Am I right? Yeah. Therefore the netherworld has expanded itself and opened its mouth without measure. Okay? So what are we talking about? If we're talking about hell, right, which we don't believe, our definition of hell is not the same definition as the rest of the man-made religions in the world. But whatever the netherworld is, it opens its mouth, and there's no limit. But guess what? We're going to read it differently. It only opens its mouth for someone who is livli chok, without, a chok means a mitzvah, without mitzvah, but it's singular, without a mitzvah. As long as you do one mitzvah, you're saved. Unbelievable! Wait till you hear it. So remember, we said that the one string is good enough to save, to cover the soul, and now we're seeing that the one mitzvah, we're talking about a beged, right? It's the one string. And here it's the same as a chok. But if you read this verse, the way I just read it, the netherworld has expanded itself and opened its mouth. Forget what it says in English. It's opened its mouth for someone who doesn't have a chok. That's what it says. Without measure, not without measure, but without a mitzvah, because that's what the word chok means. Nitzo mi Gehenna. He'll be saved from what we call Gehenna. You heard of Gehenna before? Gehenna means hell. Talmud Shel Davar, and the reason is Lefisha Brit Kruta Shem Mitzvah Gorer Mitzvah, that God created for us this covenant, and this covenant is a 613 mitzvah covenant, right? He created this covenant with us, that a mitzvah drags with it other mitzvahs. I want you to look in Pirkei Avot. This is number 21. Ben Azai would say, run to pursue a minor mitzvah and flee from a transgression. This tells it all. Do the love and do the fear. For a mitzvah brings another mitzvah. The reward of doing a mitzvah is another mitzvah. You take the opportunity to serve God, and what does He do for you? He gives you more opportunities to serve Him. It's like, who would want more? What else could you want? Right? This is like the ultimate in that relationship. For the reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah, and the reward of a transgression is a transgression. So where are we going with this? In Cain, if that's true, miyad kishoise rak mitzvah achas, immediately when you perform just one mitzvah, hayu kol ha-mitzvahs b'chokol asot. You know what happens? By doing that one mitzvah, and we already know that the reward is another mitzvah, there's no end. Just by doing that one mitzvah, you opened up the potential for all the rest of the mitzvahs. Not only that, you think it's just a potential? You don't think potential is a little thing? Potential is huge. You've entered into what we call possibility. Can you imagine? Just doing one mitzvah, you open the whole world of possibility of the ultimate, complete, intimate relationship with God. Just through one mitzvah. I got lost. That's what he says. Even if you didn't activate it, you only did that one mitzvah, and you never did the second, third, fourth, or 20th, or millionth. All you did was that one mitzvah, but it was there in potential. It's there in, is potential or actuality? It's actuality?
It's here.
In other words, the potentiality becomes the reality. Domek hilu also. It's as if you actually did them. By doing one mitzvah, it's as actually you did all 613. It's amazing. First of all, I mentioned in the past that Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, cannot do all the mitzvahs. They never were supposed to. Some are only for Kohanim, some only for women, some only for farmers, right? So it's only through the Kli. The word Kli is Kohanim, Levim, Yisrael. It's only through a achdus, a sense of unity amongst the, Am Yisrael, the house of Israel, that we together can accomplish. I never was meant to fulfill all the mitzvahs myself, only what I'm supposed to do. and I'm supposed to do them, and he's supposed to do his, and she's supposed to do hers, and together, collectively, we fulfill. But this is even deeper. This is me on my own. Just by doing one mitzvah, it's as if I actually did them all. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it's like unbelievable. Blow you away. Soda chuchot techeles. This is the secret of that one little thread. Hamazkir kol mitzvahs Hashem. It reminds you of all the mitzvahs of God. That one little thread reminds you of all the mitzvahs. Ki al yado, because through it, nase beged shalem l'neshama. That you're making a complete garment for the soul. How many threads do you need for the garment of the soul? Amen. The Yesh od mitzvah achas, there's one other mitzvah that actually reminds you of all the other mitzvahs. Huh? Oh, I did skip something. Okay, thank you. I skipped something. I'll go back. That through that mitzvah of remembering the tcheles, nase beged shalom l'neshama, or through doing just one mitzvah, you will. It's created for you a complete garment for the soul. The eino nikvar arum, and you're not buried naked. When you're buried, you're buried with a garment. Ad sheyeh ka'adam rishon, and then you become just like Adam, the first man. What was he? He had only one mitzvah, right? He only had one commandment: don't eat from the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Mitzvah achas, shirak mitzvah achas hayis biyado. He only had one mitzvah, v'nit ratel mimenu, but it slipped away from him. Here, when we get buried, we'll have our clothes. We will be buried with clothes. Im kain chut echad yechol lavi al adam lidei tachlit. Unbelievable. And it's through one mitzvah, just doing one mitzvah, through this one little thread, will bring a man to tachlit. The word is techeles, will bring you to tachlit. How would you translate tachlit?
There's a translation.
Purpose,
Goal.
end zone. The end zone, I don't know. The goal. Okay. Kahara'at lashon techeles, just like the language of techeles means. Sod mesodos Torah. This is one of the fundamental foundations of the Torah.
It's worth coming today.
Yeah?
It's worth it.
Okay.
It's